If you want to be the community manager, you gotta know all the names of the various Spice Girls, apparently. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xaereth Prevails. Xaereth tells you what he wants, what he really wants. And we got Zori Bliss here, and it's going to be interesting, folks. She's a character no one asked for, but I don't think most people really feel ill will toward her. I know that there probably are a lot of people who are wondering why we couldn't have just gotten Rose's hot sister, which would have done something probably similar to what Zori Bliss is doing. But we do get her, and I guess we get to find out what she's all about. So let's take a look, folks. Well, let's take a look. I don't hate this release, though it is kind of funny. So Zori Bliss here, folks. She's sorry. Her face is up here, we think. We don't know. We don't know what her face looks like. That's you can have good characters without faces, folks, or chins for that matter, or noses. Star Wars is all about not worrying about individual things on a person's body. You know, that you just need to overlook it, and that's fine. That is fine, kind of. You know. Here, let's just pretend like it's Rose's hot sister here for a minute, and then, all right. So their obvious thing here, guys, is to make one squad in Resistance way better, because it is totally awful. And, I mean, clearly they're not selling enough Rey. Like, Rey is by far the most underpurchased character, or Galactic Legend out there. Like, if someone has 6 Galactic Legends at this point, I mean, maybe it's Jabba, but a lot of times it's going to be Rey. And certainly before Jabba was here, Rey was the most underpurchased. So, because it's a faction full of pilots, but all the pilots make up a really bad fleet, and that's it. So we got Zori Bliss coming to the blitzing in for the rescue. I'm sorry, we don't have more jokes for you, but we have Finn, OG Finn, guys. Poe Dameron, Rose Tico, and Resistance Trooper. So, what do we got going on here? Like, those are the synergy suggestions, and I think that's going to make a decent squad. Actually, it looks interesting. CG's really been into turd polishers lately. Like, Sana is using a bunch of different roster space that, you know, like Stormtrooper Han is good with Sana, and you know, Cara Dune, you can kind of replace Cara Dune in that squad. You know, Rolo is good on the Sana squad, etc. And now we're getting this. I'm just not sure if this is going to happen the way CG thinks it's going to happen. So she's light side, but then look at all these. She has all these different things that counts against her. Like, first off, she's resistance, and I'm like, she's not resistance. Like, just because she felt a little pang of conscience and decided to go check up on her boyfriend who isn't her boyfriend, like her love interest who she decides to chicken out and doesn't want to have a love interest with, she decides to go and hang out with her. Probably it was more Babu Frick's doing, and they're probably just lucky that they were off planet when the First Order apparently destroyed their planet, which I don't think we really saw in much detail, but yeah, she's a smuggler and a scoundrel. So it barely comes into her kit, but she's also resistance and support. She's very supporting. She is, I'm sure of it. So this is where we get our really fun meat face community manager thing, and you guys can just read it. Making Zori's ability scary. She has all the different Spice Girl references here. I don't want to deal with it, guys. My intro was enough to give me enough pain that I'm not going to be reshooting this, no matter how much of an ass I make of myself, because I don't want to have to sing that again. So, anyways, I do like their description here of where all the different things, the captain's medallion, that didn't ever make sense to me. Like, you could just purchase a captain's medallion, and then for the First Order's like, yeah, sure, if you have enough money, you can just come hang out on our Star Destroyer. Like, We have like political prisoners here, and we'll give you full access, and no one is even going to mess with you as long as you can shoot a couple stormtroopers. So never made sense to me that you could just purchase one of these things and then just go land, and no questions asked, in a Star Destroyer. That's cool. Star Destroyers for rent, I guess. But I mean, as far as following lore, I feel like they did a pretty presentable job of that. Let's see, strategy tips. Keeper in stealth. Maybe we'll use R2-D2 here. Actually, guys, they don't suggest R2-D2 as something, but R2-D2's kind of been falling out of favor anyways. Like, he's kind of just been hanging out with BB-8 anyways. So, but when BB-8's with Rey, then R2-D2's like, what am I gonna do? And everyone's just like, go sit on the bench, dude. We know you can't even sit, but just go try, okay? So, strategy tips. Otherwise, she has use her unique 2 Zeta. Just so that she can retaliate after a big hit, okay? So, you take a big hit and you don't die, apparently. Okay, and then you hit, you retaliate. What do you do after you've taliated? Of course you're going to retaliate. That makes sense. That just makes sense, guys. It's science. Time her special 2 carefully. No, it's only gonna... Oh, it's her special. I was gonna say her Zeta 2. Her unique 2, you can't time, because it's just... it's a unique. You can't do anything. Unique up on it. It can ramp to be a big hit, but can also apply certain desirable effects for the situation. Desirable. Ooh. How do I acquire Zorii Bliss? I like that they actually give the time and date of when she's going to be available. That's good. That's good communication. Unlike the Spice Girls nonsense above, this is good communication. I seriously, when I was reading the Spice Girls little thingy up top, I was like, this is a pretty, like, decent sample size of, you know, like, this is a good, consistent representation of Meatface's value that he adds, kind of. And then I read it more, I was like, oh, my brain just broke a little bit. And so, I mean, I was like, wow, I even recognize the Spice Girls. Interesting, their names. That's scary. While Zorii does think Rey is okay, because they're asking why UFU tanks? Why not UFU tanks? Why can't we have Jedi Training Rey or Rey here? They just were worried about kits. You know, they don't. I think I appreciate this. You know, people don't like the prescriptive nature of these kits lately, and I mean, I get that. I do. On the other hand, I just think that this is fine. You know, like they're trying to make us part of the faction viable that isn't necessarily great. So, all right, what does she do on her basic? She shoots twice. She deals damage twice. And watch the health go down, guys. Watch the health bar go down. We never get to see the health bar on these things, and you can tell it's like instead of just like disappearing, like it's just it's like it's being drained of power. And I wonder how they decided twin E851 blasters. Like, could you trade them in for one single, like, 1702 blaster? Is that just, I don't know. That's math, guys. It's science. They know what they're doing. So otherwise, that dispels all buffs on target enemy. It can't be, so if she's stealth, this comes back to Meatface's solemn advice. If Zorii is stealth, this attack can't be evaded. So only if it's stealth. But one way or another, I don't know if this is. We'll have to look at the actual mechanics of it. But if Zorii is stealth, this attack can't be evaded and dispel all buffs on target enemy. I wonder if it's if Zorii's stealth, this attack can't be evaded. Full stop, and then also dispel all buffs on target enemy. Otherwise, it's less use because she's not going to be stealth all the time. Or maybe she will. Maybe R2 will be awesome. And we don't know how fast she is either. She also, every time she dispels a buff, her guys heal health. That's cool. No one makes them heal their own health except for Zorii. Dispel all debuffs on resistance allies. So that's actually pretty nice because against like Starkiller, debuffs really kill you. Starkiller makes Rey do half damage ultimates. So it's nice that Zori has a chance to just kind of say, hey, no, let's not do that, thank you. And then they have the whole thing like, say you're not going to let us use Jedi Training Ray without saying you're not going to let us use Jedi Training Ray. For each buff dispelled, resistance, blah, blah, blah. So non-unaligned Force user resistance tanks. So that's a mouthful, but that's Finn. And I don't remember, is Poe a tank? I'm not sure, but those are the only two that would actually work, like OG Poe. I know he has a taunt. I didn't bother to look, though. Apparently, okay, she also gains stealth for 2 turns, and I do like that she calls all resistance allies to assist. They didn't show it in this picture, but calling everyone to assist is kind of nice, actually. Especially because she has really good synergy with Expose. Which is funny, because she never exposes her face. I've done worse for a lot less. Like what? Expose your face? Deal damage to target enemy. This is kind of cool. It ramps up a lot, guys. So she can do 300% more damage than she normally would. We just don't know what she normally would do, so who knows. But if she's healthed, if she's stealthed, she inflict healing immunity and target enemy on target enemy for 2 turns. That's cool. If they're exposed, you can stun them. Like, it has some pretty decent abilities. Like that's what it said on the hints above, and it's actually true. Looks like it's a lot. It could be a lot of damage. We don't know, really. The exposed mechanic is something that we used to abuse so much back in the day, and it's been kind of stilled lately. Like, that team is just total garbage now. If you see it in GAC, you're like, wow. That's what you like. And then you don't say anything. You just said about the very quick and messy destruction of that team. Messy for them, not for you. So let's see, unique. So this is the thing that's interesting, guys. This is how CG is admitting that the Resistance faction sucks. Look at all this. Look at this laundry list of things that she gives these guys. Like, tell us you need your faction is so bad that it needs a second leadership in it, without telling us that your faction is so bad it doesn't need a second leadership. This is a second leadership, guys. Does a ton of stuff. Gives everyone speed. Gives everyone turn meter mechanics that goes with offense. Gives everyone all this cool stuff. Resistance allies have 100% potency. Well, they have more enemies, but they have more speed when they're of equal numbers. That's cool. So when you start like beating someone down and you start winning, you don't need as much speed, and you can transition to potency so you can beat them down more. It's kind of nice, actually. Whenever a resistance ally has less than 100% turn meter, it gains bonus turn meter. All this stuff, guys, you guys can read it. There's tenacity up things about how when one gets it, everyone gets it. Hey, it's like Oprah with tenacity up. You get a tenacity up. You get a tenacity up. It's cool. Zori's like the Oprah of Galaxy of Heroes. She's not. Well, resistance allies have tenacity up. Whenever they deal damage to an enemy, they have a chance to expose more, which is cool. Whenever an unaligned Force user tank taunts, gosh, this is such a mouthful. Non-unaligned Force user resistance tank. We should come up with some really silly nickname for this. Nafurt. I'm not gonna call it that, but Nafurt. Newfurt. Oh, kind of like that. Just use your Newfurt. Alright, guys. While in Grand Arenas, if there's no Galactic Legend allies, oh, and all allies are resistance, hey, you don't want us to use it with Rey either. None of the Reys. Maybe, not even Scavenger Rey, apparently, because she's a Lusufu. So, if the ally leader is blah blah blah, then Zori's stealth at the start of her turn. Whenever she's stealthed at the start of the turn, all enemies without expose are inflicted with expose for 1 turn, which can be evaded or resisted, which is pretty nice. And then, let's see, finally, she gains stealth. So this is the thing that's funny. It's like, well, she can also just go with Rey here, because she also just gives a bonus turn to Rey, basically. The first time each resistance or smuggler, she's like, haha, I'm a smuggler too. Did you guys know that? We're like, shut up, resistance girl. Ally falls below 100% health. That ally gains 100% turn meter. So, I mean, this is kind of nice with Rey. You're going to be able to, if you just take her with Rey, you can't use the first unique. That's fine. Because this one, it's like Rey goes, she lifebloods someone, takes that hit, she immediately takes another turn, lifebloods again, and then... So that's like all, she lifebloods twice in her first turn, essentially. Like, that's on the functional level. And so the next turn, she can just whirlwind. She gets an immediate whirlwind, just like instantaneous, which is kind of nice. I think people are just going to put Zori with Rey, honestly, and then have her, like, dispel debuffs against Starkiller. Like, people are going to be like, oh, yeah, we could use her with Finn, but then we have to apply her Omicron. Or we could just apply, like, just... Let's throw her with Rey, and then we don't have to do anything. So, anyways, we get all these other cool stuff, too. While Zori uses an ability, while stealth, smuggler allies gain some stuff that no one cares about. So, that's it, guys. It looks like an interesting kit, actually. I'm interested to see where it goes. If they're going to keep buffing the perfection, or if this is just it. They just wanted a quick turd polisher and called it good. We're going to get her Y-Wing, so we have a resistance Y-Wing as well. We can just have a fleet of Y-Wings. We'd love to hear what you guys think, so thank you all so much for watching. And remember that in all things, Xaereth prevails.